Hello, ladies and gentlemen. The road to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 starts right here, right now, here in Mies, Switzerland. I'd like to welcome everybody watching right now. Welcome to the Patrick Baumann House of Basketball, where we will shape the path to the next World Cup that will take place in Indonesia, Japan, and the Philippines. And I can tell you, we are more than excited. Then the battle to become a world champion will be fought out by players who will give it their all, give it all their passion, all their power, and will be played out on many courts worldwide, basically like the one we're standing on here today. And we're going to celebrate that space where competitors will come together to give it their all, to represent and, once again, give all they got for the game and their countries. So from Jakarta, Okinawa, and Manila, we can say Asia is ready and welcomes the FIBA Basketball World Cup to a new home in 2023. Some great images here, and as you can imagine, millions of hearts will beat as one, showing their love for the game throughout the entire tournament, with the final culminating in Manila. And the World Cup in general and the qualifiers are a story of talent, of teamwork, of commitment, and obviously also national pride. And here to tell us what else makes this tournament so special, we are happy to introduce the FIBA Secretary General. Here's Andreas Zaklis. Andreas, great to have you with us.
Great to be with you.
So maybe you can tell us, I mean, this is an important milestone here today, obviously. The start of the qualifiers, which is the second one after the first ever, which took place from November 2017 to February 2019. Now, the idea was clear. Bring the national teams back in front of the fans, and I think it was a huge success, right?
Great, yes, absolutely. Well, we are very excited to start the second cycle. The first one in 2017, the new era, as we call it, meaning qualifying windows, which means regularity, which means growth of basketball around the world. 80 countries playing for a spot in the World Cup, 420 games, and what we saw was really growth on and off the court. On the court, we had almost 2,000 players playing in these qualifiers, representing their national team. And at the same time, together with our well-known stars of the sport, we had the opportunity to see some new stars emerging, having the opportunity to play on the big stage. And I was very happy to see in China, every single of the 32 national teams having at least one player from the qualifiers. But also off the court, we saw a great reaction from the TV audiences, from social media, and I must say almost 2 million in-venue spectators, like 50% of the games being sold out. So we're really confident that in this path of growth and development, the 2023 World Cup is the best platform.
Nevertheless, we do live in a different world now due to the pandemic, as we all know. How is FIBA tackling this issue?
We're tackling it with unity, with resilience, and with professionalism. You know, a few weeks ago, we were in Tokyo for the Olympics, and many colleagues from other sports, they said, Well, it's impressive how much basketball FIBA has delivered during the pandemic. And indeed, we did the count a few days ago. We've had almost 105 biosecure hubs, the so-called bubbles, in the last 12 months. That means 2 bubbles per week in average. And of course, this did not happen by accident. This was a demonstration of unity of our sport with our federations, our clubs, and our leagues really doing their best. And of course, above all, the players, the coaches, the referees, who really sacrificed in order to have basketball played around the world. We're very happy to be the first sport to play qualifiers on 5 continents last February, more than 70 countries playing around the world. So entering now this new cycle in these difficult circumstances, we have a lot of know-how, we have a lot of confidence, but we are cautious and at the same time very optimistic that home and away will come back during these qualifiers.
All right, good to hear that. Nevertheless, what else makes this tournament so unique is that for the first time, it will be hosted by 3 countries at the same time. Tell us more about that.
Yes, well, this was a big strategic decision for FIBA. Developing the sport around the world for us is the priority, is the ultimate goal. Sometimes, we look at countries based on the success of the national team, which is the main indicator, but not the only indicator. Here we have 3 countries, Indonesia, Japan, and the Philippines, that love our sport. The passion for basketball is fantastic. A combined population of almost 500 million people. So we moved the World Cup from the most populous country in the world, China, into 3 countries that combine 500 million people excited to watch our sport. So the road to the 2023 World Cup, hosted by 3 very committed hosts, is great.
All right. So as we just heard, once again, this tournament will be hosted by 3 countries that hold basketball close to their hearts. And as a group phase host, Indonesia will welcome 8 teams in Jakarta for 20 games over 11 days in the brand new state-of-the-art venue being built extra for the World Cup. Now, Mr. Zaklis, it's the first time that the World Cup will take place in Indonesia. Nevertheless, I mean, there's a huge fan base out there already, right?
Yes, a huge fan base. Also an organizer that has delivered, let's not forget, Asian Games. They have the Asia Cup next year. The following year, the World Cup. It's a rare opportunity for a country to host 2 major FIBA tournaments in 2 consecutive summers. So we embraced immediately the great plans for a brand new arena in Jakarta. We have a very committed organizer there, and I'm very confident they will open their arms to welcome the world in 2 years from now.
So let's hear more from our friends in Indonesia. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Eric Thohir, FIBA Central Board member. Millions of hearts beating together, beating the distance until 2023, when FIBA Basketball World Cup bring us together in one unity. The committees and citizens in Jakarta, Manila, and Okinawa share the same dream and drive to make all players feel welcome and bring the best basketball experience that fans could ever have. When the world's best players come together in World Cup, I know for sure that we can all look forward to amazing games and many unforgettable moments. All hearts beating with their national team colors and sharing the love for this sport. To all basketball players, fans and community, join me to experience the moment as the road to the World Cup begins today with the qualifiers draw. Get ready and dribble up. We look forward to welcoming you in Jakarta, Manila, and Okinawa.
You heard the man. Get ready and dribble up. So thank you very much to Indonesia. We now move over to Japan, and the island of Okinawa will also host 8 teams from the group phase with 20 games over 11 days in the brand new Okinawa Arena. Now, Mr. Zaklis, Japan has just hosted the Olympic Games, obviously, but FIBA has already been in Japan for a World Cup also, right?
Absolutely, yes. And how to thank Japan for hosting Olympics during the pandemic without exaggerating, and how not to be excited to return to Japan after some great memories that our sport have had here. For sure, the 2006 World Cup in the Super Saitama Arena was a great experience. It was great to be back there this summer with more basketball moments. And now we look forward to Okinawa. This will be a new experience for our players, and we believe it will be a great one because the state-of-the-art facility just a few months ago was inaugurated, and we already had some first friendly games of the Akatsuki 5 in that brand new arena, which looks an excellent venue that our players will enjoy in 2023.
Well, let's listen to this message from our friends in Japan. Here we go.
「世界中のバスケットボールファンの皆様、世界中のバスケットボールファミリーの皆様、こんにちは。FIBA バスケットボールワールドカップ日本組織委員会代表理事の三谷裕子です。2023年にフィリピン、インドネシアとともにこの日本で FIBA バスケットボールワールドカップ2023を開催できることを大変誇りに感じています。本大会の開催都市となる沖縄県は日本の南に位置するリゾートアイランドです。きれいな海に広がるサンゴ礁、豊かな自然、暖かい気候、沖縄のグルメと魅力あふれる豊かな島です。また本大会の開催会場となるのが今年3月に完成したばかりの世界に誇れる沖縄アリーナとなります。世界トップクラスの選手たちが沖縄アリーナで自ら代表する国のプライドをかけ真剣勝負を繰り広げます。その熱い戦いを世界中のファンがこの日本、そして沖縄県に注目する日を本当に心から楽しみにしています。FIBA バスケットボールワールドカップ日本組織委員会は本大会の成功に向けて着々と準備を進めています。安心・安全な大会運営はもちろんのこと、ファン、そして選手関係者の皆様の沖縄滞在、一日一日が素晴らしい思い出となるようホスト国として準備に取り掛かりたいと思います。FIBA バスケットボールワールドカップ2023予選に参加する各国の幸運を願い、皆様と沖縄でお会いする日を楽しみにしています。代表する国のために、ファンのために勝利を目指せ。
And that is the energy we're looking for. So thank you very much to our friends in Japan. Now, the Philippines will play a leading role as group and also final phase host. That means 16 teams will play the group phase in 2 venues in Manila, with the final in front of a crowd, an amazing crowd of nearly 50,000 people. Now, the numbers speak for themselves, Mr. Zaklis. And I think we can be sure that with the passion of the Filipinos, we'll basically sell it out, right?
Absolutely. You know, when you put Philippines and basketball in the same sentence, you can never exaggerate. And we're talking about a country that loves our sport. We're talking about a country that was the first to host a World Cup back in 1978 in Asia. And of course, this road to the World Cup, we know that for all the players, for all 80 teams that will be in the pot today for the draw, is a road at the end of the day to arrive to Manila for the final phase. They are the final phase hosts, and it is a dream, I think, of every player now entering this new era of the qualifiers to play in front of a 55,000 sold-out arena, the Philippines Arena. So this is all I can wish to each and every one of our players that will participate in the qualifiers, and a big thank you, of course, to all 3 hosts and here to Philippines.
All right, well, let's check out what the Philippines have to say. Here we go.
Greetings from the Philippines to the global basketball community. I am Manny Pangilinan, head of the local organizing committee of the Philippines. Today, the road to the 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup begins with this draw. With it, we carry the grand responsibility of harnessing and broadcasting the unifying power and spirit of sport. From the Philippines, the world can expect what our players typically bring to the basketball court. Everything. We offer our warmth and hospitality, our care and attention, our energy and passion. 724 days from today, we will host the 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup in Manila, Jakarta, and Okinawa, the fulfillment of our grandest dreams. This means a lot of work in the following weeks, months, and years. But our people will tell you, we cannot wait. Let's win for all.
Also a nice message, let's win for all. So as we can see, the Philippines are ready, and we're super happy now to be joined here live by our friends in Manila with Gretchen Ho and some very special guests. Gretchen, hello from me in Switzerland.
And welcome to all the friends from Manila.
So we see there are also, or we guess there are also some very prominent guests there with you. A big hello to everyone joining you there in Manila. There they are. Hello, everybody. Nice to have you with us. So it was also great to have you with us, Mr. Zaklis. And I'm sure you will enjoy this next video just like every basketball fan does, because at the end of the day, you know, it's all about representing your country. Let's play it.
Who will you become when the moment arrives and you're carrying the expectations of an entire nation, representing your people and their dreams, the colorful faces in the streets, the screaming fans in the stands? It's time to make your move. All eyes on you, all hope, all heart. Because when you win for all.
So what an inspirational theme for the 2 years that lie ahead of us. And now I'd like to ask Mr. Pangilinan. The Philippines are known for their incredible devotion to basketball, obviously. Maybe you could tell us, what does the World Cup mean for your country and also for the fans out there?
You don't have too many people afterwards.
Well, good afternoon to everybody at FIBA. Hosting the World Cup is a great honor and privilege for the Philippines. It is an opportunity for the world to know our country better and for our guests to experience firsthand the warmth and hospitality of our people. It is a grand event for the Philippines, along with our co-hosts Japan and the Philippines and Indonesia, to show our commitment to promote basketball in our respective countries, as well as showcase our ability to host world-class events as the FIBA World Cup. The MVP group is fully committed to make this hosting a definitive success. As well, Smart Communications has joined as a global partner with FIBA to demonstrate our clear participation. With our national federation, the SBP, taking the lead in our preparations, we shall leave no stone unturned to make our hosting a memorable experience for all, so that in the end, we win for all.
Very much looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Mr. Pangilinan. And speaking of win for all, Hidelin Diaz is also with us. Hidelin, she just won the first Olympic gold medal in her country's history, so congratulations to that. When you hear win for all, how does that resonate for you personally?
Win for all has a strong meaning and resonance with me. Being the first gold medalist in the Philippines, it fills me with national pride. This win not just for me, but for the country as well. The road to a gold medal was initially a personal goal for me as an athlete. But as I continue to participate and win in multiple competition, I discover the love and support of my Filipino fans. This pushed me harder to strive for greater heights to the gold medal. Truly, this win is not just for me, but for all the Filipinos. Admittedly, a bit cheesy, but it is what it's given the nature of the question.
Thank you very much, Hirilin Diaz. Once again, continued success. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us. Once again, that's the win for all spirit right there, which we hope to see and to carry out into the world throughout the entire tournament. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to do that because not just basketball, sports does that in general, but basketball, once again, has the ability to get into the hearts of everyone and to inspire. It definitely did find its way into my heart. But now let's take a moment to go back to Beijing 2 years ago when Spain conquered the world with a perfect mix of hunger, talent, experience, and of course, their team captain, who at the end of the day was able to lift the Naismith Trophy. Here we go.
Fernandez. Rudy drives in, puts it up off the glass. We're seeing A-star Rudy tonight. Fernandez has been huge. So that's 2 for him. Incredible.
Wow. Spain has been an incredible powerhouse in this sport, and this man has done a lot to make that happen. So please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the Spanish national team captain and the 2-time world champion. Here is Rudy Fernandez. Rudy,
What's up, Chris?
welcome, man.
Thank you. Be an honor.
Great to have you on the show. How do you like the setup?
Wow.
Huh?
It's great honor
bad,
to
huh?
be here. I see the museum, so unbelievable.
So maybe we could tell, or you could tell us a bit about your memories. When you think back the journey in 2019, but obviously also your first world title win in 2006. Tell us a bit about that.
This long time ago, so I was so young in 2006. So with the president from now, that's a great experience. And now was a captain in 2019, and just was a great honor to represent my country and a captain. But you know, now I have 2 titles, 2 world titles. I never dreamed that. With Marc Gasol, we represent our country in 2006. We was so young, but we learn about all as players, and great honor to represent my country and to be now in that situation with help to next step to the world in 2023.
I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but his eyes literally sparkle when he talks about his experience here. So must have been some great memories. Let's see what the Philippines have to say.
Rudy, we have a question from the Philippines.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of the Tagalog word puso? In English, it means heart, and it's known as the Philippine brand of playing the sport. How do you relate to this personally, given your national team, your career, and your success?
All the people know my basketball is so hard. Puso, for me, to represent my people, my country, is the goal. When I'm in the court, I try to be my best, not only for me personally and around me. That represent my country, all the fans is behind us, is support in any time. I think for the sports, any time is more important. Sometimes you have a good tournaments, sometimes it's a bad tournaments. But I think the goal from the national team, in my personal opinion, is the family. And we stay in the family. It's great to play behind and all the people around support us in our country is the best I can, more than titles.
All right. Thank you very much for the questions there from the Philippines, and also thank you very much for the answers.
Thank
we
you.
could talk about this for hours, I think, but let's switch our focus to the road to 2023 and the qualifiers. But when I talk about it, I have to say it feels like something is missing. So why don't we bring out this couple that has been reunited for the second time after 2 years, after their first encounter in 2006. Please welcome former national team player and current president of the Spanish National Federation. Here is Jorge Garbajosa and the Naismith Trophy. Here they come. All right. Wow. Jorge, first of all, great to have you with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you for bringing back the trophy.
It's an honor to put it again there.
But it's not hard to get it out of your hands, is it?
It's a huge honor to get it 2 years ago and to put it now again on this exciting journey that we start over today.
You obviously won it as a player, also in 2006, and then again as head of the Federation in 2019 after taking part in the first ever edition of the qualifiers. Maybe you could tell us how different is this World Cup compared to the ones you actively competed in?
I would say it's pretty different. And in 2006 was a great experience for all of us, for our country, for all the members of the team. Great success for our basketball. But that last World Cup in 2019 was extremely exciting because it was not just 17 days, 15 days of tournament. It was a 2 years journey, so exciting with basketball all over the world, with home and away games, with the fans watching in front of them in their countries, official games, really important games to qualify for the World Cup. And then this, as I said before, this extremely exciting journey ends in the best way with these amazing players getting this beautiful cup for all of our fans.
Sounds good. And once again, we're so looking forward to this next tournament. So thank you very much, first of all, Mr. Garbajosa, for taking your time to be with us. But now let's see together what this new cycle of qualifiers brings to basketball fans worldwide, shall we? Here we go. Excitement on the court, and yes, some action coming to us here soon. Now, thank you once again for joining us, Mr. Garbajosa.
Sure.
And we will soon reconnect again also with our friends in the Philippines. Thank you so much for joining us until now. And Rudy, after the next video, we're going to need you on this side of the court, okay?
Okay.
So let's begin with Africa.
What a thunderous move.
finds the lane, dunks it home! Hey, let's go, guys!
Jay! Not in my house!
How did he make that? Quite incredible.
So, back in the studio, Rudy, thank you very much for joining FIBA Sports and Competitions Director Predrag Bogosavlev. Great to have you with us also.
Hello.
Now, we've seen the action. We've seen some of the players, pure emotion. But now let's see how the qualifiers, the Africa's qualifiers, actually work. Here we go.
16 teams will play the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 African qualifiers during 5 windows to qualify 5 teams to the World Cup scheduled in the Philippines, Indonesia and Japan. In the first round, the 16 teams will be divided into 4 groups of 4. Each team will face the other 3 in their group in 2 tournaments, played over the first 3 windows, with 3 games per team being played in each window. These windows will be in November 2021, February 2022 and June 2022. The top 3 teams from each group will advance to the second round of the African qualifiers, where they will join 3 teams from another group. All teams will carry over the results from the first round. In the second round, each team will play the 3 teams from the other group in 2 tournaments played over 2 windows scheduled in August 2022 and February 2023. At the end of these additional 6 games per team, the top 2 teams in each group, along with the best third-placed team, will qualify to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023.
"16 teams and 4 groups." Mr. Bogosavlev, I'm pretty sure you have more information for us. How is this going to work?
Yes, the goal is actually to have the best teams qualified for the World Cup. So to achieve this goal, the first thing we have to do is to distribute the best teams evenly across the groups of the qualifiers. And this is actually our job for today. We should make sure that all the groups are of approximately same quality. And about the details, let's have a look at the explanation video.
Good idea.
16 teams will take part in the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 African qualifiers, competing to secure one of 5 available spots to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023. The 16 participating teams mirror the 16 teams qualified to the FIBA AfroBasket 2021. The 16 teams have been divided into 6 pots based on the FIBA World Ranking presented by Nike. Teams will be distributed into 4 groups, labelled A to D, starting from Pot 1. Pots 1 and 4 will feed groups A and B. Pots 2 and 3 will feed groups C and D. Pots 5 and 6 will be drawn across the 4 groups. 4 additional pots labelled like the 4 groups contain the numbers 1 to 4. A number will be drawn from the respective pot each time a team is drawn into a group. This number will determine the position of the team in each group and therefore the order of the games. The 2 teams in Pot 1 will be drawn in groups A and B, while the 2 teams in Pot 2 will feed groups C and D. Pot 3 will feed groups C and D, while Pot 4 will be drawn into groups A and B. The draw will conclude with pots 5 and 6 until all teams have been allocated to one of the groups.
So, as you just saw, we're also drawing a number for each team. So that is why on this side of the court, we are now joined by Norris Foucault from the Geneva Basketball Academy and Fabien Up, the FIBA head of competitions. So, gentlemen, great to have you with us. Shall we begin?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, you guys are ready?
Yeah, we are ready to start. Just short information before we really start. So just to explain how the teams will be actually allocated to specific groups. So we will first draw the team from the pots on my left-hand side, Once the team is drawn on your screens, you will see highlighted groups which are available for this team. In case of multiple choices, we will always put the team in the first available group according to alphabetical order.
Okay.
So we are ready to start now, and we'll start with the pot 1. The first team from the pot 1. Nigeria. Nigeria will go to the group A.
And Nigeria played at the World Cup in China 2 years ago and finished 17th. The D-Tigers are hoping to reach the event for the 4th time in their history.
And the number for Nigeria is number 4. The next team from the pot 1. Tunisia. Tunisia goes to the group B.
And Tunisia qualified for the FIBA Basketball World Cup for the first time in 2010 and finished 20th in China. They won 10 out of their 12 games in the last African qualifiers.
Number 3 is number for Tunisia. Let's go to the pot 2. The first team from the pot 2. Is Angola. Angola goes to the group C.
And Angola also played at the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2019 in China and finished 27th. They had a strong performance in the previous African qualifiers, winning 9 out of 12 games.
Number 4 for Angola. Second team from the pot 2. Is Senegal. Senegal goes to the group D.
And Senegal made their World Cup debut in 1998 and have played at the event 4 times. They finished 30th at the World Cup in China.
The number for Senegal is number 2. Pot 3. The first team from the pot 3, Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire will go to the group C.
And Côte d'Ivoire, or the Ivory Coast, played at the FIBA Basketball World Cup in China 2 years ago after finishing as the best third-place team in the second round of the African qualifiers.
The number for Côte d'Ivoire is number 1. Next team from the pot 3. Egypt. Egypt goes to the group D.
And Egypt is seeking a 4th appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. They last took part in the 2014 World Cup in Spain.
Number 3 for Egypt. Let's move to the pot 4. Mali. Mali will play in the group A.
And Mali made it through the second round of the African qualifiers for the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2019 and will be looking to go one step further as they seek their first ever participation in the World Cup.
Number 2 for Mali. Next team. Is Cameroon. Cameroon will play in the group B.
Cameroon is yet to play a World Cup. They played in the last Africa qualifiers for the World Cup 2019, but missed out on reaching the tournament.
With number 2. Now we'll proceed with the pots which are feeding all 4 groups. So from the pot 4, the first team is Uganda. Uganda will play in the group A.
Uganda played in the first round of the African qualifiers for the World Cup in China. The Silverbacks have never taken part in a World Cup.
Number 3 for Uganda. Next team from the pot 5. South Sudan. South Sudan will go to the group B.
South Sudan qualified for FIBA AfroBasket 2021, earning the right to play in the African qualifiers to qualify for the World Cup for the first time.
Number for South Sudan is number 1. Next one. Central African Republic will play in the group C.
And the Central African Republic were 14th at the FIBA Basketball World Cup in Puerto Rico in 1974, their only World Cup appearance so far.
And the number for this country is number 3. And the last team from the pot 5. Democratic Republic of Congo will play in the group D.
And the Democratic Republic of Congo played in the African qualifiers for the 2019 World Cup and were 4th in their group in the first round of qualifiers. The Leopards have yet to play at a World Cup.
Number 4 for Democratic Republic of Congo. Now we are moving to the last pot, pot 6, the first team from the last pot. Is Cape Verde. Cape Verde will play in the group A.
And Cape Verde are attempting to qualify for their first ever World Cup. It's also their first participation to the qualifiers of the World Cup.
With the number 1. Second team from the pot 6. Is Rwanda. Rwanda will play in the group B.
Rwanda has never made it to the World Cup, but they did reach the second round of the African qualifiers for the last World Cup.
Number 4 for Rwanda. Next team from the pot 6. Guinea. Guinea will play in the group C.
And Guinea is hoping to play at the FIBA Basketball World Cup for the first time. They played in the first round of the previous African qualifiers.
Number 2 for Guinea. And finally the last team from the pot 6. Is Kenya. Kenya will obviously play in the group D.
And Kenya is chasing their first ever appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. The Morans have a chance to play in the African qualifiers after clinching a spot at the FIBA AfroBasket 2021.
And number 1 for Kenya.
Okay, so that sums it up. The groups for the African qualifiers are set. Why don't we take a look one more time? Here we have the different groups in A, B, C, and D. Looks like we're going to have some very exciting matches as from what I can see here. So, very much looking forward to that. As we now turn to Asia, Oceania, and Australia and the Asian qualifiers, we're happy to reconnect with our friends in the Philippines. So I'm going to say hi to our friends once again over in the Philippines. Great to have you back. And if you're ready over there, we're ready, that's for sure, and we're ready to tip it off. So, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the video.
Straight to the highlight kill.
So here we are back once again in our studio, and this question goes out to Mr. Barrios. Mr. Barrios, who are you traditionally most afraid of, or who are you traditionally most worried about having to play against? Let's put it that way.
Well, heading into any competition, the goal is to prepare our squad to perform to the best of its abilities. Instead of worrying about any team, we are focused on ourselves. We truly believe that if a team is fully prepared and committed, we can compete against any team. Our goal is to form the best Philippine team for 2023 and make our countrymen proud. We come in with Filipino pride and with the mentality that anything can happen in the court. Whether we are underdogs or favorites, we intend to perform well in representing the Philippines. We are ready for any challenge that will come our way, and we will give it our all. Laban Pilipinas, puso.
All right, there we go. So I think that's the right mindset, I guess we could say, when it comes to any sport. Rudy, I know you played against Japan in Tokyo. We have Australia in this group, who obviously is also a very, very tough team. Now, when you look at these different teams, their different styles, the way they play, is there anything you're most keen on seeing during the next tournament?
Now I think all the teams, they are ready. For us, in the Spain national team, we see all the countries more prepared to the games, and it's tough to play against Japan. The last Olympics was the first game was very difficult, and as you remember, 2 years ago in the semifinals against Australia was 2 overtimes. So now all the countries they prepare the team very well to these tournaments, and it's tough to play and win the difficult cup.
So basically what Mr. Barrios just said also, you know, it doesn't matter if you're the underdog or you're the favorite, anything can happen in this game if you have the right mindset and you're prepared.
If you remember 2 years ago, nobody get us the chance to win the World Cup, and we do it.
And here you are today.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's see how the Asian qualifiers will work. Here we go.
16 teams from Asia and Oceania will play the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 Asian qualifiers during 6 windows to qualify 7 teams to the World Cup scheduled in the Philippines, Indonesia and Japan. As host of the final phase, the Philippines are already qualified, in addition to the 7 spots reserved to the Asian qualifiers. Japan is also qualified as host in virtue of its ranking, but takes up one of the available 7 spots. Philippines and Japan will play in the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 Asia qualifiers first round and second round, advancing to the next phase as automatically qualified. Finally, Indonesia's guaranteed spot is subject to the team reaching the quarterfinals of the FIBA Asia Cup. 6 spots are therefore available for the remaining teams. In the first round, the 16 teams will be divided into 4 groups of 4. Each team will face the other 3 in their group on a home and away basis over the first 3 windows, with 2 games per team being played in each window. These windows will be in November 2021, February 2022 and June 2022. The top 3 teams from each group will advance to the second round of the Asian qualifiers, where they will join 3 teams from another group. Pre-qualified host teams will take up one of the 3 spots in the group, regardless of their position in the group, and all teams will carry over the results from the first round. In the second round, each team will play home and away against the 3 teams from the other group, over 3 windows scheduled in August 2022, November 2022 and February 2023, with 2 games per team being played in each window. At the end of these additional 6 games per team, the top 3 teams, in addition to the Philippines and Japan, will qualify to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023. Should Indonesia also be guaranteed a spot as host, then only the best third would qualify in addition to the top 2 in each group.
And we're going to give it right back to Mr. Bogoslavlev, who can tell us a bit about the key principles of this draw.
Yeah, it is a bit more complex than for Africa, because in Asia we have huge distances and up to the 10 hours time difference between distant parts of Oceania and, for example, West Asia. This is why, in addition to the quality principle, we also have to apply geographical principle when forming the groups for the first round of the qualifiers. So, again, more details. Let's have a look at the explanation video.
Let's go for it.
16 teams from Asia and Oceania will take part in the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 Asian Qualifiers. They will compete to secure one of 6 available spots to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023, joining Philippines and Japan, who play in the qualifiers but have their spots secured as hosts. The third World Cup host, Indonesia, will also have a guaranteed spot should they reach the quarter-finals of the FIBA Asia Cup. The 16 participating teams mirror the 16 teams qualified to the FIBA Asia Cup 2021. The 16 teams have been divided into 8 pots based on geographical principles combined with the FIBA World Ranking presented by Nike. Teams will be distributed into 4 groups, labelled A to D, starting from Pot 1. The 8 teams from East Asia and Oceania in Pots 1, 3, 5 and 7 will feed Groups A and B. The 8 teams from Central and West Asia in Pots 2, 4, 6 and 8 will feed Groups C and D. Group numbers to determine the order of games will not be drawn, but assigned based on the order of the draw. The first 4 teams will have number 1, the second 4 teams number 2, and so on. The 2 teams in Pot 1 will be drawn in Groups A and B, while the 2 teams in Pot 2 will feed Groups C and D. An identical procedure will apply for the remaining pots.
And in this case, numbers will be drawn automatically. So we're only going to play this side of the court. So, Mr. Bogoslavlev, are you ready?
Yeah, absolutely ready to start. Again, the same procedure. We are drawing the team. The audience will see highlighted groups available for this team, and we are allocating the team to the first available group according to alphabetical order. So, starting again with the Pot 1. New Zealand. New Zealand will play in the group A.
And New Zealand has played at the last 5 FIBA Basketball World Cups, with their best placing of 4th place at the event in Indianapolis in 2002.
Second team from the Pot 1. Another team from Oceania. Australia. Australia will go to the group B.
Australia was 4th at the FIBA Basketball World Cup in China, their best performance to date after winning 10 of their 12 games in the Asia qualifiers.
Pot 2. First team is Jordan. Jordan will play in the group C.
And Jordan is hoping to play at the FIBA Basketball World Cup for the 3rd time in 2023. They were 28th at the event in China 2 years ago.
The second team from the Pot 2. Is Iran. Iran goes to the group D.
Iran, fresh off their 2nd ever appearance at the Olympics, has played at the last 3 World Cups. They finished 23rd when the World Cup was staged in China 2 years ago.
Pot 3. Korea. Korea will play in the group A.
Korea has played at the World Cup 8 times, including the last World Cup in China, where they finished 26th.
Second team from the pot 3 is China. China goes to the group B.
And China is attempting to qualify for their 10th World Cup with their best appearance at the event in 1994 when they finished 8th.
Pot 4 Lebanon. Lebanon goes to the group C.
Lebanon won 6 of their 12 games in the Asia qualifiers for the World Cup in China and are narrowly missed out on clinching a spot in the tournament. They played last at the World Cup in 2010.
The second team from the pot 4 is Kazakhstan. They will play in the group D.
Kazakhstan is yet to play at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. They did play in the second round of the previous Asia qualifiers, but missed out on the spot in the 32nd team lineup in China.
Now, pot 5 with the 2 World Cup organizers. The first one, Philippines. Philippines will play in the group A with New Zealand and Korea.
Co-hosts of the World Cup, the Philippines have played at the last 2 World Cups and recently qualified for the FIBA Asia Cup as the top team in their group, winning all 6 games.
The second team from the pot 5 is Japan. The second host will play in the group B.
And after
with
losing
Australia and China.
After losing their first 4 games in the last Asian qualifiers, co-host Japan pulled off an impressive recovery to clinch a spot at the World Cup in China 2 years ago.
Pot 6. Indonesia, our third host, will play in the group C.
And one of these 3 hosts with the Philippines and Japan, Indonesia will play for the first time in home and away World Cup qualifiers.
Second team from the pot 6 is Syria, goes to the group D.
Syria will be looking to seal their first appearance at the World Cup. They qualified to the second round of the last campaign, but missed to book their ticket to China.
Last 2 pots, pot 7. India. India will play in the group A.
India will also be aiming for their first ever appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. They did take part in the previous qualifiers, but were eliminated in the first round.
Second team from the pot 7. Chinese Taipei will play in the group B.
Chinese Taipei will be looking to make their 3rd FIBA Basketball World Cup. Their previous appearances came in 1954 and 59, where they finished 4th and 5th, respectively.
And the last spot, Saudi Arabia will play in the group C.
And Saudi Arabia has never played in a FIBA Basketball World Cup and will play for the first time in the home and away World Cup qualifiers.
And finally, Bahrain will go to the group D.
And Bahrain, who recently qualified for the FIBA Asia Cup, is looking to play at the FIBA Basketball World Cup for their first time in history. So, this basically sums it up. Here we go. We have all the groups of the Asia qualifiers, and this is what the groups look like, A, B, C, and D. And once again, something to look forward to. Very, very interesting. And once again, the 3 hosting countries in this group also. So, looking at this, we're at halftime. So, thank you again, once again, to our friends over in Manila in the Philippines for joining us. And the basketball world looks forward to watching this tournament, obviously, in your country. We are very much looking forward to that. Can't wait for it. So thank you very much once again for joining us. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the third draw. And for this, we move to Europe.
Again.
So we're back on the court with Rudy and also Mr. Bogoslavlev. And before we actually get to the draw, let's see how the 32, yes, I said 32 teams in Europe will battle it out, will battle for their spot at the World Cup. Here we go.
32 teams from Europe will play the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 European Qualifiers during 6 windows to qualify 12 teams to the World Cup, scheduled in the Philippines, Indonesia and Japan. In the first round, the 32 teams will be divided into 8 groups of 4. Each team will face the other 3 in their group on a home and away basis over the first 3 windows, with 2 games per team played in each window. These windows will be in November 2021, February 2022 and June 2022. The top 3 teams from each group will advance to the second round of the European qualifiers, where they will join 3 teams from another group. All teams will carry over the results from the first round. In the second round, each team will play home and away against the 3 teams from the other group over another 3 windows scheduled in August 2022, November 2022 and February 2023, with 2 games per team being played in each window. At the end of these additional 6 games per team, the top 3 teams from each group will qualify to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023.
So once again, 32 teams, but only 12 spots. So, Mr. Bogoslavlev, this promises furious competition, I'm sure.
Incredibly interesting competition with a lot of tight games and unpredictable outcome. So this is why it is really important that using quality criteria, we distribute the teams across all the groups in order to create balanced quality, both for the group phase, the first round and the second round. So this is why this draw is very important for Europe. And again, more about details in the explanation video.
I was expecting that.
32 teams will take part in the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 European Qualifiers, competing to secure one of 12 available spots to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023. The 32 participating teams include the 24 teams qualified to the FIBA Eurobasket 2022 and the 8 best teams from the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 European pre-qualifiers that were concluded in August 2021. The 32 teams have been divided into 8 pots based on the FIBA World Ranking presented by Nike. Teams will be distributed into 8 groups, labeled A to H, starting from Pot 1. Pots 1, 4, 5 and 8 will feed groups A, C, E and G. Pots 2, 3, 6 and 7 will feed groups B, D, F and H. 8 additional pots labelled like the 8 groups contain the numbers 1 to 4. A number will be drawn from the respective pot each time a team is drawn into a group. This number will determine the position of the team in each group and therefore the order of the games. As we start from pot 1, its 4 teams will be drawn into groups A, C, E or G and will also be drawn their group number. Pots 2 and 3 will feed groups B, D, F and H. Teams will be drawn into one of the groups with their group number. Pot 4 and 5 will be drawn according to the same principle into groups A, C, E and G. The remaining 3 pots will be drawn in a similar manner, with pots 6 and 7 completing groups B, D, F and H. And pot 8 concluding the draw and completing the lineup of the 4 pending groups.
So Fabien Oep is back with us, and he is also joined now by Alek Milenkovic from the Geneva Basketball Academy to draw the numbers. Alek, great to have you with us. No need to be nervous once again. I think we saw that this works out perfectly, so with the help of your expertise, everything will be fine. So thank you very much. Are we ready to draw? We ready over here too?
I think we are.
Yeah.
As you can see now, we have 8 pots with the 4 teams each. Again, we will proceed in the same way. After drawing the team from the respective pot, we'll see highlighted groups available for this team and assign the team to the first available group according to the alphabetical order.
Okay.
So we are starting with the pot 1. Serbia. Serbia goes to the group A.
And Serbia won 7 of their 12 games in the last European qualifiers for the 2019 World Cup. Their best performance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup was runners-up in 2014.
The number for Serbia, number 1. Next team from the pot 1. Slovenia. Slovenia goes to the group C.
And Slovenia made it to the second round of the European qualifiers for the World Cup in China, but missed out on reaching the tournament. Slovenia will try to make their 4th World Cup appearance in 2023.
Number for Slovenia is number 4. Again, pot 1. France. France goes to the group E.
France has reached the podium at the last 2 FIBA Basketball World Cups. At the previous European qualifiers, France won 10 out of their 12 games.
Number 1 for France. And the last team from the pot 1 is... we can guess. It is Spain. Spain goes to the group G.
Spain goes into the European qualifiers as the reigning champions after prevailing in China 2 years ago. They were also winners of the World Cup that was held in Japan in 2006.
And the number for Spain is number 3. Let's go with the pot 2. The first team from the pot 2, Greece. Greece goes to the group B.
After making it through the second round in China, Greece will be going after their 9th appearance at the World Cup. They finished first in their group in the last European qualifiers.
Next team from the pot 2. The number for Greece is number 3. The next team from the pot 2. Germany. Germany goes to the group D.
And Germany's best performance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup was 2002 when they finished 3rd. They have played at 4 of the last 5 FIBA Basketball World Cups.
Number for Germany is number 2. Next one. Lithuania. Lithuania goes to the group F.
Lithuania is looking to play at the FIBA Basketball World Cup for the 6th time, and their best performance at the tournament was a 3rd-place finish in 2010.
Number for Lithuania is number 2. And the last team from the pot 2. Italy. Italy goes to the group H.
And Italy is chasing their 10th appearance at the World Cup stage, having finished 10th in China.
The number for Italy is number 4. Pot 3. Turkey. Turkey goes to the group B.
And Turkey has played at 5 consecutive World Cups dating back to 2002 in Indianapolis. When they hosted the event in 2010, Turkey made it all the way to the final in Istanbul, finishing 2nd.
Number 4 for Turkey. Next team from the pot 3. Poland. Poland goes to the group D.
Poland, yes. Poland reached the quarterfinals in China 2 years ago, finishing 8th. And this was their first appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup since 1967.
Number 4 for Poland. Next team, pot 3. Is Czech Republic. Czech Republic goes to the group F.
And the Czech Republic made a very impressive run to the quarterfinals of the FIBA Basketball World Cup in China 2 years ago. Let's see what happens this time.
Number 4 for Czech Republic. And the last team from the pot 3. Russia. Russia goes to the group H.
Russia made it safely through the European qualifiers for the FIBA Basketball World Cup held in China in 2019, and Russia finished 2nd at 2 consecutive World Cups in 1994 and 1998.
Let's move to the pot 4. First team, number for Russia is number 1. Let's move now to the pot 4. First team from the pot 4, Latvia. Latvia will go to the group A.
Latvia is attempting to clinch a place at the FIBA Basketball World Cup for the first time. They narrowly missed out on playing in this 32nd team event in China after finishing 4th in their 2nd round group of the previous European qualifiers.
Number 4 for Latvia. Next team, pot 4. Croatia. Croatia will go to the group C.
Croatia has played on 3 separate occasions on the World Cup stage. Their best result is a 3rd place in 1994.
Croatia, we have number 1. Next team from the pot 4 is Montenegro. Montenegro will play in the group E.
Montenegro, the smallest nation by population to ever appear at the FIBA Basketball World Cup when they competed in China 2 years ago, Montenegro goes into the European qualifiers looking to make back-to-back appearances.
Number 4 for Montenegro. And the last team, pot 4. Is Ukraine. Ukraine goes to the group G.
And Ukraine is seeking a second appearance at the World Cup after playing at the event that was held in Spain in 2014.
Ukraine will have number 4. We're halfway through European qualifiers, pot 5, first team. Belgium. Belgium will play in the group A.
And Belgium is looking to bounce back from a tough European qualifiers campaign from the last World Cup and earn a ticket to the 2023 event for the first time.
Number 3 for Belgium. Next team from the pot 5. Finland. Finland goes to the group C.
And Finland will be chasing their second World Cup appearance after playing at the tournament in Spain 7 years ago.
Finland will have competition number 3. Next team. Hungary goes to the group E.
Hungary is yet to play at the World Cup, but did make it through to the second round of the previous European qualifiers for the last World Cup in 2019.
For Hungary, we have number 3 and the last team from the pot 5. Georgia. Georgia goes to the group G.
Georgia is trying to reach the FIBA Basketball World Cup for the first time. It means they played in the European qualifiers for the last World Cup and advanced to the second round.
Number 1 for Georgia. Pot 6. Great Britain, the first team from the pot 6, goes to the group B.
Great Britain has never taken part in the World Cup, but Great Britain played in the first round of the European qualifiers for the World Cup in China.
Number 2 for Great Britain. Next team from the pot 6. Israel goes to the group B.
And Israel is seeking their third appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup, having last qualified in 1986.
Number 1 for Israel. Next team from the pot 6. Bosnia and Herzegovina will play in a group F.
Bosnia and Herzegovina are hoping to make their first appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup in 2023. They played in the previous European qualifiers and advanced to the second round.
with number 1 for Bosnia and Herzegovina, last team from the pot 6. Netherlands. Netherlands will play in the group H.
And the Netherlands has only appeared at the FIBA Basketball World Cup once in 1986. The Dutch advanced to the second round of the European qualifiers for the 2019 World Cup.
The number for Netherlands is number 2. We start with the pot 7, first team from the pot 7. Belarus. Belarus will play in the group B.
Belarus is yet to play at a FIBA Basketball World Cup. They did take part in the first round of the European qualifiers for the 2019 World Cup.
Number 1 for Belarus. Second team from the pot 7, Estonia, will go to the group D.
And Estonia is yet to play at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. They advanced to the second round of the last European qualifiers for the 2019 World Cup, but failed to qualify.
Number 3 for Estonia. Bulgaria will play in the group F.
Bulgaria's lone appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup was in 1959 when they finished 7th out of 13 teams. They played in the previous European qualifiers and advanced to the second round.
Number 3 for Bulgaria.
Sorry, this was this pot.
And the last team from the pot 7. Is Iceland. Iceland will go to the group H.
And Iceland is setting their sights on the first World Cup participation. They played in the first round of the previous European qualifiers.
Number 3 for Iceland. Now, we came to the last pot, pot 8. The first team from the pot 8 is Slovakia. Slovakia will play in the group A.
And Slovakia is chasing their first appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. They recently took part in the pre-qualifiers for the FIBA Eurobasket 2022.
Number 2 for Slovakia. Next team from the pot 8. Sweden. Sweden will go to the group C.
Sweden's looking to compete at the FIBA Basketball World Cup for the first time in their history. They played in the first round of European qualifiers for the 2019 World Cup in China.
Number 2 for Sweden. 2 more teams to go. We have Portugal. Portugal will play in the group E.
Portugal is chasing their first ever appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup in 2023. They took part in the European pre-qualifiers for the last World Cup.
With the number 2. And the last team for European draw is North Macedonia. North Macedonia will play in the group G.
And North Macedonia is chasing their first appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. They played in the European pre-qualifiers for the last World Cup.
With the number 2.
So that sums up our European qualifiers, and this is what it looks like. Here's a nice overview. 32 teams divided into 8 groups from A to H. And what should I say? I mean, this is going to be something worthwhile. Some nice matchups there I see already. Nevertheless, once again, one of the biggest groups out there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have one more to go, one last quarter, and let's take a look at what this is about. But before we actually switch to the Americas, why don't we discover what the ball looks like, the ball that will bounce all over the world for the next 15 months. Here we go. So, some tricks here for myself. I used to play, not professionally, but it doesn't matter. I still love this game. I love the ball. So, we'll definitely bring back one of these home with me. Let's see if I can fit this in my suitcase somehow. Nevertheless, I think we're ready for the last quarter for the Americas. So here we go.
For their country.
So after the action on the court, and when I talk about action, I didn't mean my action here, I meant the videos you just saw. It's time to take a look at the Americas qualifiers, how they work. Here we go.
16 teams from the Americas will play the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 Americas qualifiers during 6 windows to qualify 7 teams to the World Cup scheduled in the Philippines, Indonesia, and Japan. In the first round, the 16 teams will be divided into 4 groups of 4. Each team will face the other 3 in their group on a home and away basis over the first 3 windows, with 2 games per team being played in each window. These windows will be in November 2021, February 2022, and June 2022. The top 3 teams from each group will advance to the second round of the Americas qualifiers, where they will join 3 teams from another group. All teams will carry over the results from the first round. In the second round, each team will play home and away against the 3 teams from the other group over 3 windows scheduled in August 2022, November 2022, and February 2023, with 2 games per team being played in each window. At the end of these additional 6 games per team, the top 3 teams in each group, along with the best 4th team, will qualify to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023.
All right, so Mr. Boguslavlev, anything special to say about the way these teams were divided?
Well, I'm afraid I'm not going to say anything new, except that for America draw, we are using similar principles as for Asia draw. So in addition to quality principle, we also apply geographical principle due to the huge distances between North and South American countries. So the groups will be created based on quality and geographical principles. And again, for more details, we have a nice video to explain.
Of course.
16 teams will take part in the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 Americas qualifiers, competing to secure one of 7 available spots to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023. The 16 participating teams include the 12 teams qualified to the FIBA AmeriCup 2022 and the 4 best teams from the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 Americas pre-qualifiers, played in the summer of 2021. The 16 teams have been divided into 8 pots based on geographical principles combined with the FIBA World Ranking presented by Nike. Teams will be distributed into 4 groups, labeled A to D, starting from pot 1. The 8 teams from South America in pots 1, 3, 5, and 7 will feed groups A and B. The 8 teams from North and Central America in pots 2, 4, 6, and 8 will feed groups C and D. Group numbers to determine the order of games will not be drawn, but assigned based on the order of the draw. The first 4 teams will have number 1, the second 4 teams number 2, and so on. As we start with pot 1, its 2 teams will be drawn in groups A and B, while the 2 teams in pot 2 will feed groups C and D. An identical procedure will apply for the 5 remaining pots until all teams have been drawn into a group.
And in this case, again, the numbers will be drawn automatically. So I think we're just about ready to tip off this last draw. Are we ready, gentlemen?
Yes.
Almost ready?
Almost ready, of course.
Just the last information for our friends in America. So we'll be drawing the teams. Once the teams are drawn, on your screens you will see available groups for those teams. And we will always allocate the team to the first available group according to the alphabetical order. So let's start with the pot 1.
Let's go.
Argentina. Argentina will go to the group A.
And Argentina has a strong history in the FIBA Basketball World Cup, claiming second in 2019 and will be looking to play in their 15th tournament.
Second team from the pot 1 is Brazil. Brazil in the group B.
And Brazil has played at every World Cup, winning in 1959 and 1963. Brazil were 13th at the last World Cup.
Pot 2, North American countries. The first one, Canada. Canada goes to the group C.
Canada is seeking their 15th appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup and is looking to improve their best ever performance of 6th, which was back in 1982.
And the second team from the pot 2 is USA. USA goes to the group D.
United States have won the FIBA Basketball World Cup on 5 occasions. They won 10 out of 12 games at the previous America's qualifiers and finished 7th in China.
Pot 3. Venezuela. Venezuela will play in the group A.
And Venezuela made their World Cup debut in 1990 and played at the event 4 times in total.
Second team from the pot 3 is Uruguay, goes to the group B.
Uruguay's 7th and last appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup was in 1986. They finished 4th in their second round group of the Americas qualifiers for the 2019 World Cup.
Pot 4. Dominican Republic goes to the group C.
And the Dominican Republic was present at the last 2 FIBA Basketball World Cups, including China, where they advanced from the first round and finished 16th overall.
Second team from the pot 4 is Puerto Rico. They will play in the group D.
Puerto Rico has played at the last 9 consecutive FIBA Basketball World Cups and placed 15th in China in 2019.
Pot 5. First team from the pot 5 is Panama. Panama will play in the group A.
Panama qualified for the World Cup in 2006 in Japan. They advanced to the second round of the Americas qualifiers for the 2019 World Cup, but did not make it through to China.
Second team from the pot 5. Colombia will go to the group B.
And Colombia's only appearance at the World Cup was in 1982. They played in the first round of the Americas qualifiers for the 2019 World Cup, and we'll be looking to go one step further, that's for sure.
Pot 6. Virgin Islands. Virgin Islands will play in the group C.
And the Virgin Islands are hoping to reach the FIBA Basketball World Cup for the first time. They played in the previous Americas qualifiers and advanced to the second round.
Second team from the pot 6 is Mexico. Mexico goes to the group D.
Mexico's fifth and most recent appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup was in Spain 7 years ago, when they made a strong run to the round of 16 before falling to the USA.
Pot 7. First team from the pot 7 is Paraguay. Paraguay will play in the group A.
Paraguay's two appearances at the FIBA Basketball World Cup were 1954 and 1967, and they played in the first round of the Americas qualifiers for the 2019 World Cup.
The second team from the pot 7 is Chile, and they will play in the group B.
Chile is chasing their fourth appearance at the FIBA Basketball World Cup and first since 1959, when they claimed third place.
And the last pot for America, pot 8, Bahamas. Bahamas will play in the group C.
And the Bahamas played in the first round of the Americas qualifiers for the World Cup in China, and they have never taken part in a World Cup.
And the last team from Americas is Cuba. And Cuba will play in the group D.
And Cuba's most recent appearance at the World Cup was in 1994. The Caribbean nation played in the first round of the Americas qualifiers for the last World Cup. So, I guess that sums it up once again, and here is the final recap for the groups of the Americas. Once again, 4 groups here, A to D, nicely mixed together here for some action on the court very, very soon. All right, so thank you very much for that. So now we know how the 4 qualifiers will shape up around the world. Looking very much forward to that. I'd like to say thank you very much, Mr. Boguslavlev, for joining us once again. What we would do without you. And thank you also to Rudy Fernandez, once again for joining us. And continued success also for the upcoming tournaments and games. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're off. We're on the road to the World Cup 2023 in Indonesia, in Japan, and the Philippines. It will all happen on the court, once again symbolized by the court we're standing on here today. And this is where the best players will face off, give it all to win the Naismith Trophy. So get ready to bring your win for everybody. The win for all spirit, so to say. We hope to see you in November for the start of the qualifiers. Until then, stay safe and see you again soon. Thank you and bye-bye.
Who will you become when the moment arrives and you're carrying the expectations of an entire nation? Representing your people and their dreams, the colorful faces in the streets, the screaming fans in the stands. It's time to make your move. All eyes on you, all hope, all heart. Because when you win for all.